Crossing the $10,000 mark is a huge financial milestone. You have built a solid foundation for your future. But hitting $20,000 completely changes the game. This target is where your life takes a dramatic turn. This is where your financial momentum truly begins to multiply. You are no longer just scraping by every month. You finally gain the leverage to escape terrible work environments. You officially transition into the realm of the serious investor class. The mental weight of daily survival starts to lift off your shoulders. Hitting this specific target unlocks options you simply never had before. Stick with me through this comprehensive breakdown today. I will reveal exactly how to secure that first $20,000 rapidly. You can achieve this even if you are starting from absolute zero right now. The biggest shift at $20,000 is massive wealth acceleration. At 10 grand, you barely notice compound interest working behind the scenes. Let us assume a standard 8% annual market return. That creates about $800 in passive income over 12 months. You make around $66 every single month without lifting a finger. That barely covers a minor utility bill or a few streaming subscriptions. But doubling your invested capital to $20,000 transforms that exact same math. You now generate a solid $1,600 every single year passively. Your capital works significantly harder without demanding extra physical labor from you. That $130 monthly provides actual measurable budget relief. Your money begins compounding at a speed that feels genuinely exciting to watch. This significantly increased output means your overall net worth will compound at a noticeably faster rate going forward. Consider the journey of building that initial $20,000 from absolute zero in your bank account. If you consistently invest $600 every single month while earning that exact same 8% return, you will cross the finish line in approximately 30 months. However, if you aggressively push your monthly savings rate to $1,200 by picking up extra shifts or launching a side business, you crush that goal in just under 15 months. The absolute best part of this financial equation is that natural career growth and annual income bumps automatically shorten this waiting period. Let us revisit that slower, more conservative approach where you only contribute $600 monthly. Reaching your very first $20,000 takes those full 30 months of grinding and discipline, but acquiring your next $20,000 requires only about 22 months of patience. Your original capital is now actively working alongside your regular monthly deposits to violently pull that timeline forward. Fast forward into the distant future when your investment portfolio eventually balloons to a massive $500,000. The math becomes almost incomprehensible compared to your early days of saving pennies. With that exact same 8% return acting on your capital, your assets are spontaneously generating $20,000 every 6 months, without any additional physical effort on your part. Push that total portfolio balance to a cool $1 million, and you are suddenly manifesting a fresh $20,000 in just 90 days. That is essentially an entire financial quarter of a year doing absolutely nothing but letting your accumulated wealth multiply in the background. This perfectly illustrates the astonishing exponential leverage of compound growth over long periods. It also highlights exactly why aggressively pushing your balance past that initial $20,000 threshold is absolutely critical for your future freedom. You are fundamentally buying your way into an exclusive economic ecosystem where your money does all the heavy lifting for you. Passing 20 grand fundamentally alters your mental relationship with money. It transitions you out of a constant scarcity mindset. If a sudden disaster strikes when you only possess $10,000, one major emergency expense instantly drags you backward down into four-figure territory. That rapid decline is incredibly demoralizing to experience. Having that robust $20,000 cushion provides profound psychological relief. You easily maintain your five-figure status even after absorbing a significant financial hit. Consider that the median savings balance for an average American hovers right around $8,000. Sitting at 20 grand means you are mathematically outperforming the general public by 2.5 times. You completely abandon pure survival mode and finally embrace a mindset of true financial abundance, where every single dollar acts as a protective shield. The brilliant financial author Morgan Housel perfectly articulates this exact phenomenon by describing financial independence as a sliding scale rather than a fixed destination. Every single dollar you manage to lock away securely buys you a tiny, measurable fraction of personal autonomy. Having just $100 stashed away provides a slight buffer for minor grocery fluctuations or unexpected small bills. Scaling that protective barrier up to $1,000 or $10,000 exponentially expands your flexibility when dealing with sudden job loss or major life events. As your liquid capital approaches that $20,000 threshold, you actively begin optimizing for this newfound freedom. Your entire personal identity undergoes a profound transformation. You stop viewing yourself as someone who constantly struggles with money management and start acting like a highly capable wealth builder, which rapidly turns into a powerful self-fulfilling prophecy. Another profoundly underrated advantage of hitting $20,000 is the immense career leverage it suddenly provides. When your bank account is empty, you are trapped in a constant state of desperation, forcing you to tolerate miserable working conditions simply to afford your basic monthly necessities. In psychological terms, you are permanently stuck at the absolute bottom of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, fighting endlessly for basic shelter and sustenance. But reaching this specific financial milestone elevates you straight into the critical safety tier. Imagine finding yourself trapped in an incredibly toxic corporate environment that completely drains your mental and physical health daily. While conventional wisdom warns against resigning without a solid backup plan, possessing a $20,000 runway changes the rules entirely. If your baseline monthly living expenses hover around $4,000, you instantly command 5 solid months of breathing room to hunt for a significantly better opportunity. Without panicking, that expanded financial runway grants you the ultimate luxury of time to completely reinvent your professional trajectory. It suddenly becomes entirely feasible to pivot into a brand new industry, finance advanced professional certifications, or finally launch that ambitious business venture you have been endlessly dreaming about. Attempting such massive life transitions with only $10,000 in reserve often feels incredibly reckless and introduces severe daily stress. However, doubling that safety net to 20 grand equips you with the strategic options needed to secure a higher paying position, which ultimately accelerates your overall wealth building journey even further. By the way, if you are finding serious value in this financial breakdown so far, make sure to hit that subscribe button, leave a quick like, and drop a comment below, letting Kyle Invests know where you are on your wealth building journey. Your support helps this channel grow and reach more future investors just like you. Another massive advantage of holding $20,000 is escaping the notorious poverty penalty. When funds are tight, simple existence becomes statistically more expensive, draining your net worth through continuous micro-penalties. Consider the predatory nature of modern banking. A simple $40 overdraft charge creates agonizing friction for someone living paycheck to paycheck, adding a complex layer of daily stress. Major financial institutions routinely extract upwards of $10 billion annually just from these specific penalties. Furthermore, many commercial banks impose $15 monthly maintenance fees on checking accounts that drop below $5,000. Surpassing the 20 grand milestone eliminates these parasitic costs entirely. You also unlock the economic leverage of bulk purchasing. Buying household essentials in massive quantities can easily slash grocery expenses by up to 30% over a year. Without adequate capital, consumers are forced to buy low-quality apparel that degrades rapidly or pay steep premiums for monthly insurance installments, rather than securing lucrative annual discounts. Hitting $20,000 effectively acts as a powerful defensive shield against this systemic financial drain. If escaping banking fees acts as your financial defense, stepping into the realm of the investor class is your ultimate offensive strategy. This is the exact turning point where your wealth-building options violently expand beyond basic savings accounts. With $20,000 at your disposal, you can comfortably max out a retirement vehicle like a Roth IRA. The official federal limit for 2025 is set at $7,000. By aggressively filling that bucket, you still retain a solid $13,000 in liquid reserves. Attempting to execute that exact same maneuver with only a $10,000 net worth requires sacrificing a terrifying 70% of your total liquidity, which fundamentally jeopardizes your basic emergency safety net. At this elevated level, you finally possess the capital required to architect a genuinely diversified portfolio. You can strategically branch out beyond a single stock and deploy funds into real estate investment trusts, corporate bonds, and broad market ETFs. Furthermore, premium index funds offered by titans like Vanguard often mandates strict $3,000 minimum buy-ins. Having a larger capital base simply buys you VIP access to vastly superior investment vehicles. To make this milestone incredibly practical, let us map out exactly what a highly optimized $20,000 portfolio looks like in reality. Imagine dividing this capital into distinct tactical buckets. You could aggressively route that maximum $7,000 directly into a Roth IRA, locking it into diversified index funds for long-term tax-free growth. Next, you construct an impenetrable fortress by parking exactly $10,000 into a high-yield savings account, serving as your absolute emergency fund. That leaves you with $1,000 comfortably sitting in your standard checking account to absorb daily operational expenses and regular monthly utility bills, without ever triggering those dreaded overdraft penalties. Finally, the remaining $2,000 can be strategically deployed into a taxable brokerage account to buy individual company stocks or thematic ETFs. This structural framework perfectly illustrates the power of capital allocation. You are simultaneously securing your distant future, completely insulating yourself from sudden modern-day catastrophes, and maintaining enough liquid cash flow to navigate everyday life with absolute zero friction. Possessing this diversified capital base fundamentally rewires how you react to global financial turbulence. When you establish a rock-solid emergency cushion and deeply understand the mechanics of personal finance, your time horizon expands dramatically. A sudden 20% correction in the stock market no longer triggers a visceral panic attack. Instead of aggressively liquidating your assets in pure terror, you recognize the volatility as a standard economic cycle, and might even deploy your excess cash reserves to acquire premium assets at a steep discount. Novice investors frequently make the fatal mistake of injecting their entire $2,000 net worth directly into volatile markets on day one, when their portfolio inevitably suffers a temporary $400 drop. Psychological agony sets in, forcing them to sell everything at a massive loss just to escape the emotional pain. However, commanding 20 grand grants you the psychological fortitude to park a few $1,000s into the market and absolutely ignore the daily noise. That unwavering patience is the ultimate secret to long-term wealth generation. Crossing that monumental $20,000 threshold also radically shifts your financial time horizon. You finally stop obsessing over immediate short-term rewards and start playing the strategic long game. The economic advantage of extreme patience is deeply rooted in human psychology, a concept brilliantly demonstrated by the legendary Stanford marshmallow experiment conducted throughout the 1970s. Researchers placed young children in a controlled room and offered them a fascinating high-stakes choice. They could choose to eat one single marshmallow immediately, or they could simply sit and wait for 15 short minutes to be rewarded with 2 marshmallows instead. Unsurprisingly, a massive portion of the children instantly devoured the single treat, utterly consumed by the biological desire for a quick dopamine hit. However, a select few individuals exhibited remarkable mental discipline and self-control, successfully battling their urges and waiting the required time to double their sweet reward. The brilliant researchers didn't just stop there. They tracked these exact same children for decades to observe their overall life trajectories. The final data definitively proved that the individuals who mastered delayed gratification experienced vastly superior life outcomes across the board. They achieved significantly higher academic scores, specifically dominating their SATs, and displayed virtually zero major behavioral issues. In fact, the highly successful late CEO of YouTube, Susan Wojcicki, actually participated in this exact study, with her mother famously noting her extraordinary level of self-restraint as a clear indicator of her future corporate dominance. The ultimate financial takeaway is glaringly obvious. If you can conquer the desperate urge for instant gratification, you are statistically primed for massive wealth creation. People trapped in a short-term mindset constantly chase wild, speculative YOLO stocks or prematurely abandon their retirement accounts just for a fleeting thrill. Reaching that $20,000 milestone serves as concrete, undeniable proof that you have successfully forged the ironclad discipline required to delay gratification and build generational wealth. If you are fiercely determined to shatter that $20,000 barrier as rapidly as possible, you must execute 3 highly strategic moves right now. Step 1 requires establishing extreme situational awareness by auditing your exact financial baseline. Treat your money exactly like a professional athlete treats their physical conditioning. You must know your precise net worth, your total monthly income, and every single outgoing expense. Step 2 forces you to play ruthless financial defense by tracking every transaction for 30 consecutive days. By meticulously analyzing your spending patterns, the average person will effortlessly uncover anywhere from $300 to $600 in hidden monthly leaks. For instance, I recently audited the finances of a close colleague who was unknowingly hemorrhaging over $1,000 every single month, purely on premium food delivery services. Once we identified that massive cash drain, he completely cut it out and instantly redirected roughly $700 monthly straight into his investment portfolio, proving that countless small impulsive purchases secretly sabotage your financial freedom. Step 3 is all about deploying a relentless financial offense to rapidly scale your total income. You cannot just save your way to true wealth. You must proactively demand your true market value. If you have been consistently overperforming at your current corporate position, you need to confidently negotiate for a substantial 10 to 15% salary increase to dramatically boost your monthly cash flow. You must rigorously research standard industry compensation data beforehand to ensure your demands are bulletproof and mathematically justified. Furthermore, you should ruthlessly liquidate unused household items or launch a scalable weekend side business to generate extra capital. Every single dollar you capture exponentially accelerates your journey toward that life-changing $20,000 target. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. See you in the next video. And remember, stay smart with your money. Take care.